Welcome to English Speaking Practice.
Are you ready to boost your English skills and become a more competent speaker? You're in the right place. Join us on our podcast journey where we dive into engaging conversations, practical tips, and real-life scenarios to help you master the art of English speaking. Whether you're a beginner or looking to polish your fluency, our channel is your go-to resource for effective practice and improvement. Subscribe now, and let's embark on this language learning adventure together.
Hey Sarah, I was thinking about how different life in the city is compared to life in the village. Have you ever lived in both places?
Yeah, I have. I grew up in a small village and moved to the city for college and work. There are definitely some major differences between the two lifestyles.
I can imagine. What would you say are the most significant differences?
For starters, the pace of life is vastly different. In the city, everything moves so fast. People are always in a rush, whether it's for work, social events, or just getting around. In the village, life is much slower and more relaxed. People take their time with daily activities, and there's a stronger sense of community.
That makes sense. I've noticed that in the city, people often don't even know their neighbors. How is it in the village?
It's the opposite in the village. Everyone knows everyone else. There's a strong sense of community, and people are more likely to help each other out. For example, if someone's car breaks down, neighbors will come over to lend a hand. In the city, you might call a tow truck instead of asking your neighbor for help.
Interesting. What about the amenities? The city must have more facilities and entertainment options, right?
Definitely. Cities are packed with restaurants, theaters, malls, and other entertainment venues. There are also more educational and healthcare facilities, which makes access to services much easier. Villages usually have fewer options. You might have a couple of local stores and perhaps a small clinic, but for anything more specialized, you'd need to travel to the nearest town or city.
I guess that's a trade-off then. More peace and community in the village, but fewer amenities. What about nature and the environment?
Villages are typically surrounded by nature. You can easily find fields, forests, and rivers nearby. The air is cleaner and it's generally quieter. In the city, while there are parks and green spaces, they're often smaller and more crowded. Plus, the city has more pollution from traffic and industry.
True, I do love the greenery and fresh air when I visit the countryside. How do you find the difference in terms of cost of living?
The cost of living is generally lower in villages. Housing, food, and everyday expenses are usually cheaper. In cities, everything is more expensive, especially housing. However, salaries in the city are higher, so it balances out to some extent.
That's a good point. What about the job market? I assume there are more job opportunities in the city?
Yes, cities have a wider range of job opportunities, especially in industries like finance, tech, and entertainment. Villages often have more limited job markets, typically centered around agriculture, small businesses, and local services. Many people from villages commute to nearby towns or cities for work.
Sounds like both have their pros and cons. Do you miss anything about village life now that you're in the city?
I miss the tranquility and the close-knit community. There's something very comforting about knowing your neighbors and feeling connected to the place you live. However, I also appreciate the conveniences and opportunities the city offers. It's all about finding a balance that works for you.
That's true. Maybe it's nice to experience both at different stages of life. Thanks for sharing your insights, Sarah.
Anytime, John. It's always interesting to compare different ways of living.